Greetings, this is the Retire Mentality. If this is your first time coming by, thank you very much. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back again. Today, I want to talk about your Airbnbs and how the coronavirus may be affecting them. Obviously, your calendars have just been decimated and wiped out, as mine have. I own a couple Airbnbs myself. I have a couple Airbnbs, short-term rentals, and then I have a couple long-term rentals. And this is tomorrow's April 1st, and we will see if my rent is coming in from my long-term rentals. But if you've experienced cancellations for your short-term rentals, I've got 10 tips that I want to go over that I think can help you salvage what's left of your Airbnb business and maybe help you work through here to make it to the future. So let's just get into it. Here we go. 10 tips about how to save your Airbnbs and short-term rentals. Okay, these are just 10 ideas I came up with that I think can help your vacation rental or short-term rental business. And they're just in random order. These aren't number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are just ideas that I was trying to think of that could help you through this with the coronavirus. This isn't going to be the last time we have a virus, or hopefully this is the last time we're going to have travel going to zero and governors of towns and states locking down people and saying no new Airbnb rentals, no new short-term rentals, no new hotel rentals, which is going on right now. I live in the Virgin Islands, and a couple of weeks ago, the governor here said all short-term rentals, all hotels are shut down. Nobody can make any new reservations or let anybody come stay in your places. So, this is unprecedented. And I went broke in 2008 when the market tanked. I was over leveraged. I didn't have cash reserves. I was in the middle of a flip and all my cash was tied up in the flip. I own a mortgage company, so I had no money coming in for my business, and the bank took all my properties. I went to zero. So I've already gone broke playing this game once, and I just want to share some things that I've learned, and hopefully some of these tips can help you through this very trying time. The most important thing right now is cash. Hopefully you've got some cash on hand. I know as real estate investors, a lot of us are just, especially when I was first starting out, you just work hard and you take every penny you make from working and from your rentals and wherever you can to scrape together to buy the next property. That's how I started investing, and that's how probably most of you did. And depending on where you are in that journey, hopefully you've got some cash set aside. That's really what's going to help you through this. If you've got vacation rentals that went to zero or long-term rent that isn't going to get paid because your tenants aren't working, you got to be able to get through this. And if you don't have cash, hopefully you got some credit. The best thing is to have a HELOC. If you can get a HELOC on your primary residence, that's one of the best ways to cover yourself for 6 to 12 months. I'm a firm believer that you need to have some cash in the bank, maybe 2 or 3 months of cash for each one of your mortgage payments, but then you can cover the difference with a line of credit, a HELOC, or some sort of personal credit. So you got to, everybody knew this thing was coming, so hopefully you've got some of that cash set aside, or you've got access to cash to make the payments. No matter what your leverage position is, that is what's going to get you through this. So hopefully you've got that. Number 2 is that we knew this was coming. Everybody's been saying for years, we're 7 years into a 10-year cycle, or we're 8 years into a 12-year cycle, or whatever cycle people want to talk about, and that the recession was coming, and we all knew there was going to be a downturn, and we all knew that we were going to need that cash or those reserves or that line of credit or whatever to get through something like this. So when we know that, these cycles come all the time. This is a black swan event that nobody could have foretold was coming. But it is coming at some point, and it's going to come again. This isn't going to be the last virus or the last thing that's coming. So after you get through this, if you spend all your cash to survive this, you got to start saving that money back away for a new emergency fund. Number 2 tip is get an emergency fund for the next time this happens as well, because this isn't going to be the last time. My properties are in Florida. We have hurricanes. And even if you have insurance to cover your property damage, you're still going to be making mortgage payments while things are getting fixed, and you're not going to be rented. and people are going to cancel during hurricane season. So there's things you're going to have to get through with that. We've had the BP oil spill that shut down all travel to the Gulf for a long time. So these events do happen, and you're not going to be Superman that can just survive anything, not unless you have cash, and you've got to be able to plan for it. So number one was you got to have the cash. Number two is this is going to happen again. So you got to restock the war chest and be ready for this to happen again. Number three tip is to remember that we're real estate investors. We're not check cashers. This is investing like any type of investing, if it's the stock market or Forex or Bitcoin or real estate. There's risk involved. And if there wasn't risk involved, there wouldn't be gains involved. No risk, no reward. So you're not always going to win. Sometimes you're going to lose, and sometimes things are going to cost more than you thought, and sometimes a remodel is going to cost twice what you caught because you're going to find termites or whatever and behind the walls. Not every investment is a winner, even if you've been winning for the last 8 years while the economy's been going like this. This is the downtime. Every time it goes like this, there's a dip. So don't get bummed out. Don't get stressed out. Hopefully you've planned for this. But just remember, we're investors and there's risk involved with investing, and don't let it get into your head that you messed up or you did this or you did that. This, like I said before, this is a black swan event. So just keep your mind right and put your head down and just get through this. We're all going to get through this. This is going to be over. And as soon as it is over, people are going to want to get out of their houses and they're going to book vacation properties, and hopefully by wherever you live. For me, it's the summer is the high season. Hopefully this is over by then and we can salvage this, and we just got to weather a couple months. But just keep your head right and get through this. On that same note, number 4 I'll say is to stay positive. A positive attitude is going to help you get through this. Maybe you're locked into your house. Maybe you're watching your calendar just evaporate. But like I said, just keep your head down, get through this. A positive attitude is going to go a long way. I did another video. I'll put a card here about positivity and how that can affect your success. If you're just thinking, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever, I got to sell all my properties, or I got to do this, or just don't freak out, stay positive. This hopefully will be over in a couple months. You just got to weather a couple months here, and a positive attitude is going to help you get through that and help you keep on your journey of real estate investing, because this is the fastest way to wealth. So stay the course, stay positive. We're going to all get through this. It's going to be fine. A little virtual hug for you there. So it's going to be fine. Hang in there. My number 5 tip is to diversify. And by diversify, I mean diversify how you are marketing and managing your properties. Whether you have 1 property or 10 properties, whether you have single family houses and condos and office buildings or whatnot. I don't mean diversify your portfolio. I mean diversify how you manage your portfolio. Maybe you're only advertising on Airbnb or VRBO or whatever website you're using. Get on all the platforms. Most of them will sync with each other. Get on VRBO, get on Airbnb, get on Homeaway, get on Expedia, get on, there's some more local ones where I live in the Panhandle. And the other thing is to get your own website. This is advice I need to take myself. I've been saying for years that I need to get a website and put my properties on there. And this is going to be the catalyst that gets me to do that. I'm not sure if I'm going to do one website for each one of my properties or one website for all of my properties, but I definitely need to have a website, and I definitely need to market myself outside of these platforms. These platforms, a lot of them are taking too much money, and people try to find ways around them, and people are looking for alternatives. People know that Airbnb and all these places charge a lot of fees, and they're trying to get creative in their searches, and they can't find you if you're not marketing outside of these big, huge platforms. So my tip is to get a property website. They're relatively cheap. I'll put a link down below for a company that will do a property website for you, and you can put multiple properties on there. And it's a pretty simple process. It's the one that I think that I'm going to use. Like I say, as of making this video, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do it. It's on my to-do list. Like these, I actually made notes. I usually write like a 2-hour script. I sit down for 2 hours and I write a whole script out, and then I never look at it. So I did bullet points this time. So hopefully this is working a little better, keeping me on track a little bit. That's why you keep seeing me look down. Anyway, I digress. Get a property website, put your properties on there, get good photographs taken. If you don't have a way to make good photographs, it's only a couple $100 to get a photographer. As a realtor, I use professional photographers for my higher end properties, and it's not that expensive, maybe 200 or 300 bucks, and that includes drone footage. So look into that as well. That is going to take me right into number 6, which is to set yourself apart. That could be done through, like I say, with professional photographs. Maybe get a few drone shots. If you have a beach house, if you're a block off the beach or something, maybe you need a drone shot to show your proximity to the beach. Or if you're at a ski resort, to show your proximity to a ski lift, or whatever the case may be. Set yourself apart not only with better photographs or maybe your own website, but also with the wording, how you market your property. Like I say, I have rental properties in Florida, and with this coronavirus, I thought, that's it. No more money coming in from the rental properties. I don't know if my tenants are going to pay their long-term rent. And I started kind of tweaking a few things in my ads, and don't just write your ad copy one time and let it stay there all year. I put spring specials, fall specials, winter specials. I use words like that in my header of my ads. But also what I did here, with the coronavirus, I put like, get out of the condos. Like, I have mostly single families. I have townhouses and a single family rental, but I found that people were staying at the beach. They were staying in these big high-rise condos, and they didn't want to touch the elevator button, and they didn't want to be in close proximity and waiting in line and the pool. And there was just too many people there. And there were snowbirds that were down. They usually come from November through the end of March. Some stay till April. But they wanted to get out of these big high-rise condos. A lot of them are older, and they didn't want to be around the germs and the people. And I actually rented all of my properties because I saw that as a need, and people booked them like this. So I've got the month of March booked, and they're hopefully going to stay for April, and I'm going to try to keep them in there as long as I can. I reduced my prices to get them in there because this was a win-win, I think, for everybody. I was expecting a 0, and they were expecting to have to go home and be isolated in their snowy house in Ohio. This way they get to stay in Florida. They get to get out of a hotel, or a condo building, get away from the germs, and it's a win-win. I've got my mortgages covered. Because you still got your mortgage, you got your mortgage, your power bill. I got a pool cleaner. I got a yard guy. I got the trash. I got all these other expenses that we're still going to be needing to get paid. So I've got everything covered, and I got a huge weight off of my back. So think about when everybody else is zigging, you got to zag, and think about how you can set yourself apart. And it's not always just with your photographs or whatever. You've got to think, what's the need right now, and get in there and take advantage of that. Number 7, I want to talk a little bit about is leverage, and how you use leverage in your real estate portfolio. Leverage is your friend, but you've got to be careful. And this is a perfect example of why. I don't want to get into what I think prices are going to do long-term with home values. This isn't the video for that. But just for covering your mortgage, I know, because I'm about at a 50% leverage on all of my properties. That's one of the things I learned from the 2008 crash when I lost everything. In 2008, when the market crashed and the prices dropped so much, about 20, 30%, like the stock market just did now, I had $1.2 million in mortgage debt, and my properties were worth about $800,000. Like I say, I had my cash tied up. I couldn't refinance anything. I couldn't sell anything. I was just stuck trying to make those payments as long as I could until the money ran out, and then the bank took everything. I was over leveraged. Use leverage to buy your properties. Leverage is your friend. I have leverage on my properties, and I didn't and right now I'm at about a 50% leverage overall. I have most of my properties, I owe about half of what they're worth. I have one that I don't owe anything on. And I have one that I owe a little more than 50% on, so I'll work on that one next. But over my whole portfolio, I'm at about a 50% leverage rate, and that way I know if I had to turn everything into long-term rentals, and if I had to cut my rent in half of what it is now, or what market value is, or whatever, I could still cover all of my mortgages, and I could make it through whatever. I know that things are going to bounce back and come back eventually, but when you have an event like this, or something bad happens, or markets crash, or there's a black swan event, whatever it is, I know I can cut my rents in half and I can still survive. Number 8 is the world is going to learn a lesson from this. They might learn a lot of lessons from this, but one lesson I think the world is going to learn, something that I've been doing for a long time, which is to be frugal. People are staying home. People are not eating out. People are, they're learning how to entertain themselves. I think right after this is over, people are going to have no thoughts about being frugal. They're going to go and eat out, and they're going to want to travel, and they're going to want to spend money and go shopping, and that's great, and that's going to help the economy. It's going to need it. But I think overall, people are going to be thinking more about eating at home and cooking their own meals, and maybe not spending as much money. I saw a funny Facebook meme the other day that said, "The quarantine has taught me that my only true hobbies are that I eat out and spend money." And I think a lot of people are going to be contemplating that idea. Consider that in your pricing, maybe right out of the gate when people do want to travel. Maybe there's some smart pricing you can use, or maybe just consider lowering your prices. I'll put a link down below to a company that has like an algorithm that can help you with your pricing if you want to try something like that. If not, you can just lower your prices. I think people are going to be shopping by price more than ever. They're going to if they haven't been working, if they ate up their savings like we all are, price could make a difference. Yeah, they're going to want to travel, they're going to want to eat out, but they're going to want to do it on a budget. So consider your pricing after this, and maybe if we do get our summers rented, maybe this isn't the time to try to jack the prices up to make up for these last couple of months that you lost. This might be a time to lower the prices a little and make sure that you're fully booked, and just get some money coming back in, fill the coffers, fill the war chest, and get ready for the next event. Get that emergency fund socked away, and then start saving for the next property if that's what your goals are, or pay off your properties, whatever your goals may be. Even though I had my handy dandy notes here, I still combined a few of my ideas into one as I spoke, because my brain just kind of wanders on. So that was 8. I'm going to combine 9 and 10 into marketing ideas, because I skipped one. Anyway, so 9 and 10, marketing ideas. If you do have property sitting empty right now, you may not be able to use what helped me, which was to advertise, like, get out of the high-rise condos and get into your own safe space to avoid the coronavirus. But here are some ideas that may help you no matter where you live in the country. If you've got empty long-term rentals, if you just finished a flip house, you need to get a renter in there because it's not going to sell for a little while. If you've got short-term rentals that are just sitting vacant, even though we're on lockdown, there are still some portions of the world that are still need to travel and move about the country for work or whatever. So think about nurses. Traveling nurses are someone you can tap into. They have websites for that. I'll try to post a link down below to show you guys a place you can look to find traveling nurses. Same with doctors. They might be someone you can reach out to. I'm going to actually look at my notes for a second here. You could do, like, if you have a house in the country, you might try to advertise, like, get out of the big city, come to the country. People, if you're in outside of Atlanta or New York or New Louisiana, somewhere in the woods, somewhere in the backwoods, you got a little cabin somewhere, advertise for people to get out of the cities and get into a country environment and get away from the germs and sit and look at a creek for the next 2 months until this thing is over. People may need to travel to be closer to a sick family member. If grandma or grandpa got put in the hospital and put on a ventilator, maybe son and daughter want to travel to where they live to be able to go and visit them, or maybe they can't visit them in the hospital, but at least to be closer that they can help take care of them when they do get out, or maybe they didn't get put in the hospital, they need somebody to go help take care of them. There may be some opportunities there. This may sound a little savage, but maybe you can reach out to funeral homes. I actually have a friend whose father just died and he had to travel from Georgia to New York. He's going to need somewhere to stay when he gets there. If all the Airbnbs and things are shut down, there may be a way for you to contact a funeral home and just let them know, hey, I know these are trying times, but if you have people that are in a bind and need a place to stay, you might think you're some sort of horrible ambulance chaser, but you also might be doing a family a big favor by helping them find a place to stay when there are no places to stay. And they may not want to stay with family members in New York because they're afraid everybody in New York already has the sickness. So maybe they want their own safe space. So that could be something you could look into as well. So those are my thoughts on how you could get through this coronavirus event with short-term rentals. I hope some of those ideas may trigger something in you or may help you. If you found value in this content, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that as well. Both of those things help push this out through the YouTube algorithm and help more people find it. And I'm trying to build this channel. Been a little bit challenging, but hopefully I'm putting out good content that you guys like, and you can like it, you can share it, you can tell your friends. Maybe you have other friends that have short-term rentals. Maybe you can share this with them. And if you have some other ideas that maybe I didn't think of, put them in the comments down below. Maybe you can help somebody else as well, or you can help me, or we can all help each other. This is a community, and more than ever, we need to act like a community. We need to come together, and we need to help each other as much as we can. This isn't the time to hoard your good ideas or whatever. We need to help our brothers and our sisters and get through this. We will get through this. Have faith. We'll get through it, and everything's going to be fine. Take a breath. Be positive, and good luck out there. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. Thank you very much.